Tell me about your photography journey.
Every artist has the ability to express. Every artist is supposed to express that which is on the inside of him. I don't think about my portrait sessions before I do them because every human being is unique. So when you come and you sit before me, I work with what is before me.
You just want to see your own signature in your job,
Yeah.
which is amazing.
Photography is not easy. It's a complex profession. If you want to be a photographer, you have to be ready to learn. You have to read. You have to put in the work. Because like we're saying, it's experience. Experience is really what counts. If you're a good artist, you're creative, you understand your equipment, how light works and everything. If you don't have business sense, zero. Photography is like your passport to the world. I've traveled around different countries. I've been in places with the high and mighty, the most influential men in this country because of my camera. It's a very noble profession. And if you put in the work, you would definitely get the gain.
Hello, everyone. Welcome to another episode of Be Inspired with Fotolighthouse. My guest today is an entrepreneur, the founder and the lead creative director at Fotolighthouse. Prior to taking up photography on a full-time basis, he had worked as a consultant for multinational companies and also worked as a strategic consultant with Accenture, an American-based international consulting firm, for 4 years. He is a certified member of the New York Institute of Photography. He won the Best Fashion Photo of the Year and Nigeria Photography Award in 2011. He was nominated for the Best Portrait Photo of the Year 2011 and the Best Fashion Photo of the Year in 2012. In addition to photography, he enjoys coaching, riding power bikes, and listening to loud music. So welcome, Mr. Deji Olatunde. Thank you so much for coming. I'm so happy to have you here. So let's get the conversation started. Tell me about your photography journey because I know that you work as a consultant before you became a photographer.
Yes.
Please tell me.
Okay, so I think my love for photography has always been. I remember when I was about 12, my uncle was having his convocation ceremony and they took pictures with the then analog camera and they put it in my father's room. I snuck upstairs from the party and I went and I was exploring it. Unfortunately, I opened it, so it rewound the film back. I remember when my mommy found out, she gave me a very good beating. That was as far back as 12. Then when camera phones came out, I was working in Ristral then. My boss had this nice Nokia phone that had camera, so I took it and I was snapping everybody in the office. That whole day, I didn't do any productive work. I was just so passionate about it. And all the photos I snapped, people liked them. But the real journey started when it was my birthday in, I think, 2007. A colleague of mine, Shola Adiola, she noticed how my countenance lights up every time I'm talking about photography. She spoke to a couple of my colleagues and was like, it's Deji's birthday, let's get money together and buy him a camera as a birthday gift. So they put together like 30,000. She took me to Mega Plaza to the camera stand. I was like, okay, pick a camera. I had always wanted to get a professional camera. So I just told her, you know what, just chill, hold that money. Let me get some more money and add to this and buy. So I got about 200 and something thousand, added it to that, and I got my first camera. So I started snapping and snapping. Everywhere I went to the camera. And before I knew when they were having birthdays in the office, because they do like announcements, people come and say, did you take my picture?
Oh.
So then any picture that was fine, people say, it's Deji. Then before I knew it, I had one of my managers then told me he's doing this traditional wedding and I should cover. I'm like, bros, I don't know. He says no, that his Oga is instructing me, instructing him, my Oga. So my Oga's Oga is instructing that I must be the one to cover it. I had like 2 months notice, so I started studying and everything. And I just thought, you know what, get a professional to cover it. I will just come with my camera and I'll snap. And at the end of the day, what I did was better than what the professional did. Wow. And it was my book that made it to their coffee table. And that was how it began. So people began calling, okay, please, I want you to cover a naming ceremony, little events. But because of the nature of my work, which was consulting, I was traveling a lot, consulting in different states. So there was a month I calculated how much I would have made if I had taken all the jobs that people offered me. And I saw it was more than my salary. So I was like, okay, we're onto something here. And I just prayerfully planned and exited, in 2009. And that's how I got into it.
That's always so amazing. So have you ever doubted yourself, or want to pick up something that we haven't done before? You'll be like, oh, am I going to be successful in what I'm doing? Have you ever
Okay,
been in that situation?
in terms of whether I was going to succeed or not, I didn't have any doubts because I believe in purpose. I believe that if you have the backing of heaven in anything you want to do, whether you like it or not, it will be. I mean, as long as you play your role, you play your part, it's going to succeed. So I was very clear that that was the direction that God wanted me to go. So I didn't have any doubts with regards to the long term. But in terms of specific projects, somebody wants you to cover this, or an organization has contacted you to come and cover this. And I mean, interestingly, within the first 2-3 years of my career, I was already going up against some big names who are submitting proposals for the same jobs. And when they choose me, I'm like, oh God, am I sure I'm going to be able to deliver? Before every shoot, then my heart would be racing. I would have the chills. My tummy would be, when you're tense. But the moment I start photographing, it's like a fish out of water jumps back into water, and I begin to flow. And eventually, it turns out good. So yeah, initially, up until maybe 1 or 2 years back, I would always have those chills before a job. But I keep saying, Deji, everything has always gone well. So why are you doubting? Just go on, with it.
Wow. Yeah. So lots of people are doing this kind of field you have find yourself into, and you're doing well. As in, I must say, I love your job. You've done a fantastic job for me. I remember the one you did, was it like 6 years ago? I still have those pictures, right? And anytime I bring it out is new. That's why I kept on coming back to you. Yeah. I'm just giving you this one for free. So how do you improve your skill over a period of time? How do you do it?
Well, first things first, my photography, I learned the fundamentals. I took a course with the New York Institute of Photography, and it was a complete course. So it's like the full professional course. So we're taught things like how to cover events, portraits, on location, studio, baby, pets, advertising, photojournalism, macro photography, product photography, as in the whole spectrum of photography. So I did the course, and I would say that was one of the greatest things that has helped me, because I have a very broad set of skills. Just like I was saying before we started the recording, that many people think I am a specialist in the service that I offer them. So for instance, I've only done portraits for you. So you think of me as, okay, this guy is a professional portrait photographer, but there are some other people who think, okay, this guy, all he does is architecture and interior photography. We do events, architecture, interior, product, we do lifestyle, we shot for magazines, a lot of magazines. We've done several, if not running into hundreds of, covers for magazines. So different skills. But one thing I try to do continually is to broaden my knowledge base by watching a lot of YouTube photographers, seeing what they do. And I'm also subscribed to Creative Lives. Wow. It's like an online training site where you have the best people, the best creatives in the world do their trainings there. So I'm subscribed to it. It's an annual subscription. So from time to time, I just go and I watch certain things that I feel that I need. But on a consistent basis, at least every week, I must do maybe close to minimum of 10 hours of training every week. I don't pattern my work after anybody. There's no one photographer I'll say, okay, I look up to, or I'm looking forward to, I'm trying to pattern my life or my work after their style. No. I believe that every artist has the ability to express. Every artist is supposed to express that which is on the inside of him. So for instance, like a portrait, I don't think about my portrait sessions before I do them, because every human being is unique. So when you come and you sit before me, I work with what is before me. Apart from maybe when I'm doing advertising photography for clients, that when they come with a mood board, and all I do is interpret that mood board. But for every job I do, it's when it comes in front of me. based on what I'm seeing at that point in time.
You know,
That's
I
how I
kind of
work.
agree with you on that one because I remember the last section I had with you. You know, I had my makeup artist. You pay attention to little details to the extent that my lashes, you were telling me you were like adjusting my hair and then doing all that. You pay attention to little details. And then one thing you said that really love is about you talk your own story. You say your own story. You're
Yes.
not looking to be like every other
Anybody
person.
know?
You just want to see your own signature in your job,
Yeah.
which is amazing. So we're going to go on a short break and then we'll be right back. Welcome back to Be Inspired with Sumia Labute. So, Mr. Deji, I want to ask you what really motivates you? What drives your passion?
Okay. For me, it's about adding value. So if you go on our website, you see Fotolighthouse is a professional photography company driven by the desire to add value to its clients. It's not talk. That is really what drives us. So for instance, anybody who wants to shoot, the first question I ask is, what do you want? It starts from there. They say, no, just do you. I'm like, no, you have something in mind. Let me know what that thing is. You can send me sample pictures. When I see them, at least I have an idea of what you want. Then I now do me to that, dream and interpret it based on my own skill level. And when people get their pictures and I see the reaction, I see how they use it, that is what inspires me. That's what drives me. As a matter of fact, when I say photography, there was a colleague of mine who, because of the nature of her job role, she was the executive assistant to one of the partners of the largest projects in Accenture. So she was the one who booked accommodation, flight tickets, and all that for everybody on that project. We had over 100 staff on that project, and she had to book all those things. So it was hectic for her. So sometimes she comes to the office, she doesn't do her hair, she walks about, barefooted, and oh. So when I got my camera, she made up one. No, I told her to go and make up one day. She did, and I took her picture. I put it up on Facebook, and the comments and the likes were just. So the next day we became a routine. And before we knew it, this is somebody who didn't care about anything. She said, dressing up, making up, walking. People are like, babe, how far is there a man in your life now? Or do you get? And I saw that, this little tool has the power to transform somebody, to make them see themselves in a different way and cause them to act differently. And that was the time I knew that even if this wasn't going to be a full-time thing, but I was going to follow it because the fulfillment I had from that one story, even though there were many of them, was greater than the satisfaction I was getting from my job. So for me, that is it. I slept 4:30 this morning. Why? Because somebody's birthday is today. She came, did her shoots yesterday, and we're editing. My boys finished, they sent it to me. I'm like, no, this can't pass. And we spent almost like 4 hours working on those pictures, right? We sent it, the person who recommended her just sent, thank you so much. She loved the pictures and all that. That is what drives me. That's what gives me satisfaction. When you see your job on the billboard, you're driving by and the client is proud of it. You understand? That's just it. So that value addition, that's it for us.
So I will ask you the question: what kind of book do you read?
I read a lot of. I read wide. I read a lot of things on personal development. I'm very, very, very interested in that because gets me. I mean, the more I improve myself, the more value I have to add, right? So I do that. I read books on business, so things on strategy, things on marketing, sales, human resource management. So I read wide. I believe that it's not a bad idea to be a balanced human being.
So do you listen to music? I know that one.
I listen to music. I listen to music a lot. As a matter of fact, earphones are a very fundamental part of my life. I invest a lot in earphones because, when I'm driving, when I'm working, even when I'm sleeping, So I just got some AirPods, those tiny ones, the true wireless AirPods. They're tiny, so I put them in my ear and I sleep. So sometimes I listen to just calm classical music.
Yeah, I think I remember that when I came for my shoot saying you were like, oh, that's so amazing. So what next for you?
Okay, so I've been on this for almost 11 years now. And when I started and I got very busy. And to the glory of God, it's been like that since. So I didn't really have the opportunity to do plenty personal work. But during the lockdown, I'm like, okay, Deji, this personal work that you've been wanting to do, start. I started doing aerial photography. So on Instagram, I upload them to FLH_gallery. So I have a lot of works there, and people have been buying, work there. So I intend to keep up with that and come up with an online store. But beyond that, one of the things that I really want to do is create an African stock image site, because many of the advertising content that is done where people use stock images is either pictures of Black Americans or South Africans. And the few Nigerians that we have, you see them on 50 different, you see that same guy. My wife keeps on pointing, you say that guy, I've seen him here, I've seen him there, I've seen him, you get. So the goal is to do quality imagery that would rival Getty, but we're not doing the whole world. We just want to focus on our Black people so that we can have good quality imagery that will tell our story and not depend on what the white man says. So that's that. Then there are other things also in terms of helping the industry that are in the works.
Wow, that's so great. So, I hate to say it, let's hear your final word, but at the same time, because of time, and then we can't keep you waiting, staying and all. So what's the advice for all the people who want to become a photographer?
Okay, so photography is not easy. It's a complex profession. There's the science to it, there's the art to it. And for you to be a true professional, you must balance both of them. So if you want to be a photographer, you have to be ready to learn. You have to read, you have to put in the work. Because like we're saying, it's experience. Experience is really what counts. That's one. Two, apart from that, there's also the business side. So if you are very good, if you're a good artist, you're creative, you understand your equipment, how light works and everything. If you don't have business sense, zero. And because you might be working with human beings, most likely, even if you don't work with them as subjects, you work with them as clients. It's very important that you have people management skills. It's very, very important. Your work might be the best, but if your attitude is wrong, you're not going to have customers. If they try you once, they'll say his work is good, but he's nasty. And people rather go for his work is okay, but he's pleasant. So that is that. So for anybody who wants to come into this field, it's an interesting thing. I mean, photography is like your passport to the world. I've traveled around different countries. I've been in places with the high and mighty, the most influential men in this country because of my camera. So it opens up opportunities to you. So understand that tool that you're carrying, is really deep. And I'll just say something before I close off. I have taken pictures I've done family portraits of people, families, and a family member dies. And it's that picture that I took that is the memory. So for people think that, okay, a picture is just me or the people in the picture. No, the picture is actually an encapsulation of everything that was happening at that point in time when you took the picture. So if you had fun when you took a particular picture, you realize when you pick up that picture and look at it, you will smile. Why? Because it's taking you back in that time. Do you get? So you're either preserving memories, which are like the most treasured thing. There was one family that was supposed to have pictures. The man said, you called Deji, it's too expensive, this, and he didn't do it. And shortly after, the man died. And they don't have any picture of him with his family. So his children don't even really know what he looks like. Wow. Yeah. So it's that, pictures are that significant. So it's a very noble profession. And if you put in the work, you would definitely get the gain.
Wow. Thank you so much. I'm so glad to have you here.
My pleasure.
Thank you so much for watching. I'm sure you grab a lot from Mr. Deji. He says something that really resonates with me. Talk your story in everything you do. Be original, be you. I see you next time on Be Inspired with Umelebutte. Bye for now.